I bought my first kite in Ocean City, Maryland, over 30 years ago, and it didn't come with an instruction manual, and I had no idea how to fly it. I soon found myself out on the beach, making a lot of hard crash landings before I finally connected with it. But once I did, it was a pretty exciting experience to just watch this thing go left and right and up and down and then just be able to control it the way it's controlled. Well, 30 years later, I still have the same kite, and I found myself in Bellingham, Washington. And I wondered if there was any kite flying in this area. So I did a search and found out that there's a kite shop 3 hours away. So I went there and walked in, and I just saw kites everywhere. It was like going to kite heaven. Well, I bought 3 new kites, and was out on the beach flying and learning some new things with new kites. And then I learned about something called indoor kite flying, which I'd never heard of before. How did that work? Well, there was a kite festival coming up, and I went to it. And that is where I met Team Evidence for the very first time. I met Scott Davis and some of the different team members. I didn't know it was a ministry at the time, but I knew that everything they flew to was contemporary Christian music, so there had to be something bigger going on. Well, I've learned that it is a ministry, and God is very much a part of it. A few months later, I met Team Evidence in Long Beach. And by this time, I had established a relationship with Scott Davis and some of the different team members. And Scott shared with me that he'd been hoping and praying that there would be someone in North Seattle that could be a part of the team. Well, I was living in Linwood, perfect place. And since that time, I've developed a passion for kite flying. And it's much more than just picking up the kite lines and letting it go across the sky. I find that when I fly to music, especially Christian music or anything that's inspirational, it's an opportunity for me to connect with something that is much bigger than myself. And through Team Evidence, we find ourselves connecting with people at different events. And God was speaking to me through kite flying that there is a lot more to it as a ministry than flying kites. I'm reminded every time that I pick up a set of kite lines that it's God is the one who's controlling my life, as if those kite lines are my life. God is the one that is steering me and directing me. And when I found myself in some of my darkest days and my darkest season, I knew that God was there. I remember finding myself, after working for 20 years, losing everything that I had worked for. I found myself jobless, homeless, living out of my car for almost a year. And it was as if God was looking down saying, okay, now that I've got your attention, I know your past, I know your present, and I know your future. Trust me. And I just looked up and said, okay, I trust you. And God has been doing so many miraculous things in my life the last couple of years in particular. And I'm very proud to say that this passion that I have for kite flying is something that gives me the opportunity to say what's in my heart through flying. And I'm very glad that each and every one of you are here this evening, and I hope that you enjoy this time of ministry. I would like to connect with you if you'd like to meet up or call me or anything of that nature. I'd love to speak with you. God bless.